You're listening to the World Football Program with all the latest updates from both local and international football.
Kelly.
I'm Don Evan.
Hi, I'm Penny.
Hi, I'm Peter Skeeler.
And we are the World Football Team.
And that's us, the World Football Team. Good morning, Western Australia. Sean Kelly back on air, ably assisted by the Don Evans. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, listeners. What a glorious day out there.
It would be, except there is some very, very sad and tragic news this morning. You've only just seen it yourself.
Yep, yeah.
The passing of Liam Miller, ex-Glory, Manchester United and Leeds player, Republic Island International, pancreatic cancer, and dead at 36. It
Shocking.
Is truly a tragedy.
Too young, and you know, like for the family, just condolences to all. It's how can you overcome you know, a great life that's lost at such a young age? It's just very difficult to comprehend. But as a footballer, played with consummate style and class, and was just someone that we all loved watching play. And when he was on song, Glory was on song.
Yes, and so were Brisbane, because he was in that final, playing for Brisbane, but was quality throughout that game as well. And you know, you couldn't deny the man the championship. No,
it's tragic, and you know, like you can't say too much more about it, Sean. May he rest peacefully, and his family overcome the grief.
And as you've seen yourself, the whole internet's lit up with tributes to him from all over the world.
Yep.
Obviously, within Australia, we've got Perth Glory, Brisbane and Melbourne City, for whom he played. And of course, one of our guests later on, Jacob Burns, very closely attached to him, although they weren't at Leeds at the same time. Both Leeds players did play at the Glory at the same time. So, you know, it's touched a lot of people around the world.
Yep. Certainly the tributes are pouring in, and one I spotted there from Mark Anthony, who was a teammate and a great friend. You know, just brings a tear to the eye, and you know, not much more to add than you know, a great man lost.
Absolutely. Also, on today's show, we're going to be talking to Howard Tweets. He's the new coach at Floreat. They're doing very well. One game away from possibly playing in the night series NPL final.
Big game tonight against Perth, and the other one's a cracker as well. You know, the two call it
Subiaco Coburn
underdogs.
Yeah. Well, the Subiaco Coburn game's like the battle of the battlers, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, two very hard-working, grafting clubs.
It's good for a change, Sean.
It is.
You know, mixes it up a bit. It's not the usual suspects like Bayswater and Sorrento and
Bayswater out
names.
very early, Inglewood out very early. So it's a good night series. Yeah,
look, I didn't really warm to the knockout concept. I actually thought, as a club, I just put my club hat on and thought, you play one game and then you're out, and then you got to organise scratch matches, which scratch matches is a pre-season, trial and test for some of the new players that you're trying to blood, and that doesn't really cut it compared to competitive night series games.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking to Ian McMurray from Subi, who we one game away from their first ever final, so it'd be good to see. Ian's doing good things over there at Subi.
Yep.
Then we'll be talking with Phil Kelly from Ashfield. There's been a lot of work done over the off-season at Ashfield with the introduction of juniors and some other teams, so we'll talk to Phil about that. And aligned with that, in the studio with us, we have Jim Dean. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, Sean.
You need to get a little bit closer to that microphone, up close and friendly.
For the listeners out there, Jimmy Dean, almost as good looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Jim is the face of the Ashfield Juniors, and we'll touch with that later on. It's been a project long in the making, and through some serendipity and fortunate events, we've ended up with Jim, and very happy for that to happen. So, been a long time coming. With one thing that's always been missing at Ashfield for a long time has been juniors, so it's good to see them back on that track. And then we'll be following up with Jacob Burns, who is the football manager at Perth Glory, and we'll be talking about the Chelsea game and a few other things along the way. But I imagine Jacob will be talking about the Glory versus Chelsea more than anything else. But
it's been a tough year, isn't it?
It's been a very tough year, but what a great thing though. We've got the new Perth Stadium now, and the prospect of a team, of Chelsea stature coming across. That's not just going to bring a quality football team to this town. It is going to bring a whole heap of supporters from all over Southeast Asia to us.
Absolutely. And you know what I like about the way they've presented this game? They've made it affordable for the football punters out there. At $49 a tickie, the mums and dads can afford that. It's when it gets to $75.
Well, it doubles up after that, doesn't it? It goes to what, 100, and then
so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I think, you said mum and dad price is pretty good, $49 a piece.
Yep.
I imagine they'll go pretty quick.
Yep.
Glory members goes on sale Monday, and you're entitled to buy 20 tickets, so could fill the stadium just with Glory fans on that basis.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but they go on sale Monday morning, so if you remember, you should already know about that. And
can you remember when Chelsea came out here last time, Sean? Many moons ago.
That's before I came out here, so it's a long time ago, Don. Yeah,
I was there at that game as a little toddler, and just watching guys like Hollands and Osgood, and just great names.
Now you're talking quality names.
Oh, mate, that was royalty, football royalty. Peter Bonetti,
now you're talking.
Yep. That was the glamour of Chelsea then. They were a fashionable side then, but they weren't owned by the Russians at that time, so it was all homegrown talent pretty much. It was all the local boys. And
be interested to see what team Chelsea bring, because it'll be just after the World Cup, so that will be an interesting take on things.
What will be interesting is how many players survive the World Cup process and actually come out still in shape to be able to kick a ball around, because you know how competitive it gets in the World Cup.
Absolutely, and those players will need a break. But with Chelsea, they go so deep.
Yeah.
There's lots of good players.
Yep.
Talking about good players, club very dear, you and I, Don, West Ham. Big signing over the last week.
Yeah.
35-year-old left back, just what we needed.
Just what we needed. You shake your head sometimes, but look, it's one of those clubs that brings us nothing but tragic joy when we win, and tragedy when we lose. And we always expect to lose, being a Hammer. It doesn't hurt anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But you look at the team, look at the squad, and you wonder what's going wrong, and very much like another club that's close to us, Glory.
Yep.
When you go through that squad, lots of good names, good quality players.
It's not clicking.
You can't forget skill.
Yeah.
So there is something else there.
Well, the amazing thing about the EPL this year is I think there's probably about another 14, maybe 16 clubs in the same boat as us, all basically, looking over their shoulder going, are we going to get relegated this year? Because it's a real tight mix down the bottom.
It is.
You got the top 8 and then the rest.
Then the bottom 12 really, isn't it? And there's any one of those could go at any time. So interesting time to head for the Premier League, and also for the A-League. All right, we're going to go to some messages, and we will be back after that with Howard Tweets from Floreat. And I'm looking forward to finding out a bit about Howard, because he's new. He's not new. Well, he's not a local, is he?
No.
So we'll find out about him all after these messages. Yeah.
Rachel Pepper, illustration and design for print and web. Contact Rachel at rachelpepper.com. Station sponsor.
The team behind footballwa.net can boast the best independent local football website and football forums in WA. These are sites devoted entirely to promoting the local game and our history. Visit footballwa.net for the World Football Program guest lineup every Friday. Radio Fremantle, recognising volunteers who support football in the local community.
Gate and Fence Hardware WA, your locally owned family business supplying materials, components and parts for fencing and gates. Compare brands, products and advice. Shipping anywhere. Visit our online store, gateandfencehardware.com.au. Station sponsor.
Murdoch University Melville Football Club, an aspiring, growing, engaging football club in the heart of the city of Melville. Join us at Lenshera Reserve, Oregon, for the club open day and girls tryout day in February. Go to mumfc.com.au for more information.
And we're back in the room, and on the line I have with us Howard Tweets. Good morning, Howard. How are you?
Good morning. How are we?
Good, thank you. You're the new coach at Floreat, and you don't sound like a local, so I'd like to know a bit more about you, mate.
That's the side of my accent.
So you've come over to Perth recently, or you've been living here for a while?
I've been here 3 years. January just gone, so still relatively new, learning about it all still.
Okay, and you've been involved in football over here for that time, or you've
landed at ECU June Club, I believe, Howard, to start the ball rolling.
I came in. I got a roll up with ECU with the 20s and the 16s there, and got asked to go over to Floreat last season, so I was at the club last year as well. Since landing, I've virtually been immersed in the scene, really.
And doing very well. You're one game away from the final. You've got obviously a very tough opponent in Perth tonight, but some good results to get where you are tonight. Yeah,
we've certainly put some good early performances down. We're certainly not ahead of ourselves. We're still experimenting with different shapes and transitioning through games and stuff. So the performances have been really pleasing and probably pitches us ahead of where I feel we would have been at this point. But obviously competitive games really, stir the ambition up of the players, and they've responded really well, so all's going well.
And the playing group from last year is pretty stable. It's the same group of players with a couple of handy additions?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, one of the good things for me is that the amount of boys that showed faith in me taking the reins have stayed with the club, and we just looked at putting a bit more quality depth to the group that was there last year, so we can cope with injuries a little bit better and absences, because that kind of let the group down, I feel, last season.
And young Calvin Whitney in particular started off in fine form in both games, having a strong role and looking comfortable within a talented midfield lineup that you have at the club.
Yes, definitely. Calvin is, he seems to be graded as, a guy who will dog around the field and give you as much as graft as you need. But actually, you can play a bit. I don't think he gets the credit for that. I certainly went in my first year in Australia, and I started watching a lot of the Glory games with my boy playing there. He was one of the players that stood out within his age group and stuff. So was delighted to bring him in, and he's certainly added so much depth and options to the midfield area, so we blend into it multitude of shapes with the players we have now.
Yeah, showing a good degree of confidence as a young man. Basically breaking into a fairly experienced squad and doing it well. Stepping up and taking responsibility for a penalty last week and putting that away nicely for you. The signs are good, and not you got Keelan Pollard as well, who's definitely added another avenue out wide for you.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, what I want us to do this season is a bit more proactive in the last third. So play for positions. If we need to get in and around teams, we need the right balance of play that can give us a pace, but inventiveness. It's all right just having a flyer on the wing and no end product. So Keelan's come in, but he's been selected for a reason, and the quality he's got when he goes in behind or can actually come inside, like the goal he scored against Coburn. He's a good player to have in the lineup.
And your opponent tonight is I won't call him the arch enemy, because every time Perth and Florida meet, there's always let's just say
a cracker,
a little bit of spice in the game, and lots of goals and lots of entertainment. Perth are the perennial night series, call it favourites, or in years gone by, but Bayswater have sort of wrested that crown. How do you see your team matching up tonight against the mighty Perth team?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we're looking at our own performance and obviously the roles and responsibilities of the players that will take to the field tonight. But I'm fully aware that Perth will be fully organised like they are year to year from what I've seen in my short time here, and obviously the history speaks for itself. So we'll take it on its merit, but I'm more concerned on our programme, what we're in at the moment. Obviously, Perth will demand a whole lot of respect from us, but it's good to see us come up against another team another week further into pre-season, and new challenges will be set. So yeah, I'm excited to have a good look at the game tonight, and it'll give us another real standing as to where we are in our programme.
And what do you make of this year's format? There's been a slight change in the way the night series has gone to become more of a knockout competition. Do you like that? Obviously, you've been successful in it, but if you get knocked out early, then you're looking at scratch matches and friendlies. So
yeah, certainly. My experience, obviously, being limited. The first season I was here was obviously the little round robin, which guaranteed a little competitive, friendly programme before the season starts. So, unfortunately, when Floreat went out in the first round last season, so it's hard to get games with availability of facilities and stuff. So, a good run is a good pre-season programme, and we're fortunate to still be in it.
Yeah, definitely. And now this is your first gig in Perth as a first team coach in the NPL. What do you think is your point of difference with your philosophy in coaching, and what do you aim to get out of Floreat? Defensive, midfield creativity, or just banging goals in?
Well, they all add together, don't they?
Yeah.
If you've got midfield creativity, you won't create the chances for the forwards in front. But yeah, you mentioned the word philosophy there. I have mine, and I've always been a coach who stands by my philosophy. So I'll go out and shop for players that can fit and obviously tick the boxes towards my style of play. And obviously, watching the WA scene football, obviously my experience from back in the UK, I know I can't achieve what I can do over there due to environments, climates and stuff like that, with regards to intensity and tempo and stuff like that. So it's just adapting myself to find the right balance to set the players up just to go and win football matches at the end of the day.
And given your recency, what's your take on the skill level here and the strength of the competition in comparison to the UK?
I'm probably not speaking out of turn. There's still some catch-up to be made over here. Obviously, look at comparable level in the semi-professional world in the UK now. It's littered with professional players. Top-end scholars are being loaned out left, right and centre. So, season by season, the lower levels in the UK are bridging the gap to the professional levels, and that's what's making, that certainly League 2 and League 1 a hell of a lot stronger and a lot more football etiquette going into there. So, yeah, it's evolving here, I still believe. It's the most participated sport in Australia, I read. So, yeah, it's just slowly raise the level and raise the value on players and different commitment levels over here and stuff. So, it does need building on, but it's up to the FFA and the powers that be as to how they instigate the quickness to bring it forward.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emphasis on the direction that the FFA provides us, but an awful lot falls back on clubs as well to provide that environment and the venues. And you're very fortunate. Floreat got a great little venue, and you're playing at Coburn tonight, which is a nice little boutique ground. So it's building, but when you look at the facilities that are available in the UK as to here, there is a vast difference.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, it's certainly got a great platform to build from, but it's just, like you say, getting engaged with the clubs, and whether you necessarily need, a directive from, certainly from what I hear when I came in about the FFA, trying to influence the levels around Australia, follow a pathway to what the national team was doing. I think that makes a lot of clubs restrictive on how they develop both as a club and certainly the player aspect of it. So, you employ coaches to coach, and like with myself, Floreat seemed fit to let me loose with my philosophy and the way I coach and the way I want my teams to play.
Yeah.
And from that, I'm engaging players, I'm challenging players in a different manner. Hopefully, I see myself more as a development coach than a trophy coach. So if I develop one player and he's in the team and every one of those players comes together as a collective, we're actually raising the bar on performance. So it's just, maybe does the FFA need a different blueprint on as to how they move forward with coaching?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with Howard here. I really believe clubs should have a blueprint that they can choose to work from. But, forcing clubs to have to follow that blueprint and not have the ability to be flexible and have their own method of developing their club. I mean, for me, developing players is, some clubs are good at it and some are absolutely hopeless. They don't know that area. They're just good at running a good club and having a good competitive team that they go and basically recruit players from all over the place and they put together a team. So for me, there should be flexibility. It shouldn't just be so rigid that we have a format that everyone's got to stick with that plan if you want to be part of Australian football. I believe in independence, and I believe that clubs should be allowed to make their own decisions on whether they want to be a development club or whether they just want to be a good football club that puts together teams that play attractive football so they can get a fan base, cheering for their team each week. It should be simple, rather than this, call it Big Brother approach of, we have to follow this plan because the plan hasn't worked.
Yeah, I don't like this is strictly the guidelines. You can't leave outside that box. It creates robots rather than, creative players and the ability to switch a format during a game. You might start off 4-4-2, but you may have to change that because of the way the opposition are playing or what you've got available as players.
Absolutely.
So the flexibility isn't there when you're that rigid.
For sure. We're obviously working closely with our TD, Paddy, and obviously we have to surprise certainly Football West with a curriculum and report back to that. But the curriculum from what I see with the sessions that we have, it becomes somewhat overpowering, and sometimes you're stuck to that curriculum and not showing players a bigger picture. And instead of telling players we're going to do this and this, a lot of football is football isn't predictable. It's an open game. Anything can happen at any time. So my certain style of coaching is, yes, we're going this way, but scenarios are that, what if this happens? Or what if that takes place over there? How do we adapt? How do we reposition a group and individuals? So, like you say, about being robots, it kind of is in a fact, if I'm so.
Now, tonight's game, obviously against Perth over at Coburn. Big game for the club. You've seen a few teams now. Who do you think are going to be the top runners in the NPL this year?
There's always surprises on the day. I mean, we found out Floreat, any team can beat anyone on the day. Same old football adage, but you've got to look at the ones who's got the power and the draw to recruit. The quality of players. So you're going to get your Perth up there, your Inglewoods, ECU are trying to rebuild again. They're going for the more experienced lineup. So I think you'll see familiar faces, but the lower teams are going to have the say through the season.
Yeah. All right, Howard, best of luck this evening. Your game starts what time?
7:30.
7:30. Late game. So best luck, and hopefully we'll be seeing a Floreat team in the final.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It would be nice.
Yeah, good luck with it tonight, Howard, and may the boys get up for you.
Yeah, sure we'll kick him into gear.
Good man.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, Howard Tweets. Floreat doing very well. First gig in the NPLs. Certainly had a good showing. Good win over Forestfield, who are a good side.
Yeah.
And beat them 5-1.
Yeah, like the way they spanked Inglewood as well.
Yeah.
In a 20-minute burst of just exhilarating football. It was just non-stop attack, and Inglewood just didn't.
Yeah.
They were on the back foot for a spell there and didn't know how to cope. So it's quite exciting. It's not your usual Floreat team that has the big man up front and the big man in the centre of defence. It's actually more mobile.
And Ludo Boy.
Well, now they've got, call it 4 or 5, Dean Evans, Ludo boys, all mobile. They're all, bouncing off each other. And, an opposition coach might say, well, we've got to close Ludo down, but okay, you can close Ludo down, but there's 2 or 3 others that are now doing the damage, and how do you close them down? Howard's got some good options there, so I think the club's recruited well. I was, nicely surprised when I saw the 2 young lads I mentioned earlier on going around, and just breath of fresh air. 21-year-old boys all wanting to show themselves and doing well.
And really, isn't that what it was all about?
Yeah,
having those young boys coming through, and they certainly are. And there's a number of them now throughout the league. I saw former Ashfield boy Johnny Corness is now the vice captain at Balcatta, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, you like to develop your own and keep your own as much as you can, but when you see the players that you develop go to other clubs and be successful, that for me that's almost a trophy in itself.
It is. Yeah, no, definitely it is. That's what it's about. And what I like about Howard's approach is player development. It's not about recruiting players. It's not about buying in players. It's about making the most of the ones you have. And that's to be lauded, I think. He's got a good philosophy there. So it'll be an interesting season for Floreat. They've started with a rush, but Perth, they are just the machine. Yeah,
the machine.
Exactly. They are a machine.
When you meet a Perth football team, you're going to have. The game is never over till we call it this, and tonight could go to penalties again. Because Sorrento, who knocked out Bayswater and almost knocked out Perth, went on penalties with both teams, and Perth just seemed to have that knack to win in penalty shootouts. They've just got that ability to edge their nose in front. So if it goes to penalties, I'd be favouring Perth. So Floreat to win it and really need to win it in normal time for my liking.
No, look, I think it's a very well balanced semi, and it'd be interesting to see. You really couldn't pick the winner because you've got the Perth machine, but you've got that unpredictable element within Floreat now, and they are, as you said, capable of knocking over anyone on their day.
You look at Perth's players, and they almost match up pound for pound with the Floreat boys, like Andreas there, Dossiades, Christian Sanchez, Charlie Orr, all these boys are just quick mobile players, and then you got the hit man up front, Gustavo Cataccioni. So as a striker, he's probably one of the states. He
has been the state best for so long.
For years.
Yeah.
We went to from Bayswater. Did he go to Balcatta? I think he might have had a
I think he had
spell.
But
since he's been at Perth, he just bangs them in for fun.
As he always does. All right, we'll be off to some messages. We'll be back after these with Ian McMurray from Subiaco and talk about the other semi, which is probably the working man semi. But we'll see how that goes. So we'll be back after these.
Not far from our beautiful Swan River, with fields amongst the gum trees, east of our port city Fremantle and a stone's throw from our capital city Perth, lies the city of Melville, supporting a steadily growing population of over 93,000 individuals and creating possibilities for a lot of avid footballers. One of the largest clubs in Western Australia is rising to the challenge that this massive opportunity is presenting. It supports over 800 families, over 1,000 members, 60 teams and 15 different nationalities. That club has developed programs for children that from the age of 5 nurtured them, mentored them and created pathways to encourage them to give those same qualities back into the community. Melville City Football Club. Find us at melvillecityfc.com.au. Football, an expression of your sense of community and a celebration of the world game.
Station sponsor.
You think playing like a girl is easy? Let me show you what it takes. Playing like a girl is a hustle. Don't expect to be paid like Messi or Ronaldo. There's money in the women's game, but not much. Be ready to get an extra job. Or two. Playing like a girl means you have to be your biggest fan. Because the camera won't always be focused on you. And if you want to catch their eye, or even get a sponsor, people will tell you to use your look. They may even tell you to listen to Sepp Blatter and wear tighter shorts to get a bigger audience. Playing like a girl means that when you get to the World Cup, you're armed to the teeth with nothing but resilience. You're not competing on an equal playing field, because your field will make you bleed, burn, and bruise even more. And you take it like a girl. Playing like a girl means having thick skin. You'll be told that your game is boring, that you're not as skilled as the guys, and what you achieve won't be cause for celebration. But you have the satisfaction of knowing that a woman has outscored the likes of Neymar, Benzema, Suarez, and Ronaldinho. And when you play like a girl, you never let your guard down. You keep your eyes on the ball. Because though uncertainty rules your world, it doesn't rule you. Yeah, the odds are great, but since when do you back down from a challenge? You are fierce and prepared. You are ready to outrun the naysayers, the haters, and anyone who told you you're weak, because you've got what it takes.
And continuing in our vein on the night series, there's another game going on tonight down at Coburn, which involves the hosts, Coburn, but also another team, Subiaco, who are one game away from making their club history. And we have their coach on the line, Ian McMurray. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you guys?
Yes, very good, thank you, on this fine morning.
Bit of history being made here for the club, Ian.
Yeah.
You know, Subi in the semi-finals of the night series. I don't think that's ever happened before. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a bit of pressure now to get in the final, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's all one game at a time in these sorts of situations, and I'm sure you've got your boys well prepped for that. You know, you've got a good disciplined bunch of boys together for this year. Yeah.
I mean, just continuing on from last year. We've got most of the squad together we had last year, so they know what we're all about, and they want to try and improve from last year as well. So to get where we are at the moment this early is a credit to them, definitely. And
as far as the club's concerned, you know, definitely wanting to push on this year and make a statement in the NPL, and you know, ambitions are, you know, you moved that bar a little bit higher for this year.
Oh, definitely. I mean, especially after the second half of last year, how well we performed against solid teams, and we were growing as a team then, and the boys had the buzz, and to finish in such a high, we're looking to push a little bit further this year. Although we know it will be hard, I say teams will probably not take us for granted as they did last year, so we know it's going to be tough for us, and but we're looking forward to it.
2 gritty wins in a row. You know, the odd goal got you over the line. It shows a lot of fight in the team and the ability to win the tight ones. Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing that we took from both teams. Yeah, they were quite tight affairs. We did play well in a lot of the games. But yeah, to roll the sleeves up and get stuck in and grind out results is good to see, like I say, so early in the season. Because probably at the start of last year, we possibly wouldn't have got the results that we did against in the matches that we did. So it's good to see. Scotty Miller won't be taking this game lightly. I'm sure he's got his charges all prepared for a big game tonight. How do you match up with Coburn in previous matches between the two clubs?
actually coaching them, I've not had a good record, I don't think. So, under 18s, I think they absolutely hammered us every time we played them, and I think they beat us both league games last year. So, look, it's a semi-final. Scotty's a great coach and great bunch of guys down there, and they'll be organised. They have a good footballing team as well. So, it'll be a good challenge for us. I know they've had a couple of good results, ECU and then Stirling. So, looking forward to it. I'm sure it'll be a tough game, but our boys are ready for it. Anything can happen in the semi-finals.
No, it's got a little bit of romance, this game. It's the two unfancied teams when you talk about the NPL and the call it the glamour clubs. They've all been knocked out now, and you boys are there looking for that position to do something special for the club. Just looking at tonight's game, good weather, conducive for good play, great pitch. There's no reason why this game can't be full of goals.
Hopefully, that's right. I spoke to the boys on Thursday, and some of them haven't played down there before, and I was just saying to them, it's a fantastic pitch here, big pitch.
Yep.
What a terrific venue, and let's say the weather's perfect conditions for it to go out and just express yourself and show everyone what you can do. So it's semi-final, like I say, the boys are buzzing for it, and hopefully we can get over the line and into the final.
It's interesting. One of your boys was a Coburn junior, young Alex Castiello. He cut his teeth down that way, and going back to his old club, it'll be quite a interesting game for young Alex. He'll definitely want to show himself.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he came back there as well when I was playing at Coburn. So he had his junior years there, and I think he went away and came back. So he's got a lot of history down there, and he'll be looking to impress down there, and hopefully prevent them from getting a goal or two. So he's looking forward to it, and let's say it'll be good for him to show his ability down there again.
And Steve Purton was a good pickup last year for you. He definitely adds a lot of experience there for the young fellas in the side. How's his pre-season been looking?
Yeah, he's getting there. He missed a little bit at the start of the pre-season, but he's working hard now, and it's a great addition to our squad. He's got a lot of experience and a good professional, and it's great for the young lads as well. They kind of help them through each training session, each game, as well as the other experienced boys. But he's fantastic. He's got a wonderful left foot, so very dangerous at set pieces.
Now, Ian, do you read a lot into the night series form, and having made the semis and hopefully the final, does that then change where you expect to finish at the end of the season? Does it put a bit more expectation on your team and yourself?
Not at all. I mean, the expectation I put on the team and myself is as far as it goes. Regarding the night series, it's a lot of teams are at different levels of fitness, and some teams try different things out in the night series. So, of course, we're happy to be there, and we've always wanted a good run in the night series. But regarding the league 2 weeks' time when it all starts and gets real serious, and that's really what we're looking for. To get ready for that first game. And funnily enough, it's against Coburn. So, that's when it will start. Yeah,
and it's funny how things do turn around. From night series where everyone's looking at it as the pre-season comp, and then when 3 points are up for grab, a result that happened in the night series may not necessarily happen when it translates to 3 points. That's why, like for Floreat, belting Forestville was probably the worst thing they could have done.
It was the worst thing for Ashfield last year.
Exactly. Especially that I've changed my team completely for tonight's game, so that Scotty Miller won't have a clue what's happening.
I'm sure Scotty's listening, and he'll be noting all these little tricks of yours, Ian.
No, I've got a lot of time for Scotty. I've played under him, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and looking forward to catching up with him tonight.
And what do you make of the format this year with the knockout? I mean, it's great because you're in the semis and hope you get another game out of it. But if you get knocked out early, you'd be consigned to organising friendlies on pitches people don't have and that sort of thing. Do you prefer the round robin, or do you like this?
Obviously, I'm delighted where we are. So to have the round robin is good for us. To be honest, I mean, so I think the league setup was, the group stages was probably better to keep the guys, because it is a pre-season tournament after all, and you know, a lot of clubs previously were using it, you know, to help get the fitness up. So if you only have one game and you're knocked out, it's a bit of a nightmare having to try and find teams that are available, and of course you want to be playing week in, week out, and then against the NPL teams if possible. So I'm happy where we are, but I would prefer the kind of two group stages.
Yeah, it's just an opinion, and that's all we're looking for is. You're obviously doing very well and it's working for you, but it's just interesting where it leaves other people. Bayswater, Inglewood are all now struggling to pick up games. You mentioned earlier that Coburn, you've played for them, you know the ground well. Does that inspire you or change the way you put your team out?
No, not really. Look, the group of lads I've got a couple of players missing tonight anyway, so regarding my team selection tonight, I'll put out the team. I think the strongest team to go and get the result against on a big pitch and against a good Coburn side. So I'm just contemplating whether to put myself in there. That's the thing,
you certainly know where the goals are there.
That's it. I've scored a few down there, so that's one time I might look towards that and throw myself in there as a surprise for Scott.
That would surprise him.
It'd be a surprise if Scotty comes out.
I'd like to see that. I would like to see that.
No, look, it's great to see Subiaco doing as well as they are on the pitch now, and hopefully you can make your first final. Be nice to see the club getting the respect it should have, and nice to see Coburn in there, because I think both sides that are playing tonight deserve to be in the final. I'd be happy to see either one. Obviously, you want Subi, but best of luck tonight, mate.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Good luck, Ian.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks. See ya. Okay, Ian McMurray, and a good honest final. I think that one, or semi-final. That one will be
the Battlers final. We'll call that one, and the other one's the Glamour final. So. And I'm sure both will be full of exciting football and plenty of goals. So for the fans, get down there tonight. It definitely is going to be a beautiful night for football. So this is the mildest summer I can remember, Sean.
Yes.
For many a season, it's the hot, torrid temperatures that we're used to at this time of year.
No, we haven't been getting them. No.
Yeah, touch wood.
Touch wood.
They haven't come our way yet.
Now, the other night series that started last night was the Division 1. And there's been a couple of interesting results. Mandurah played Rockingham last night down at Mandurah, and that was a 2-2 draw, but by all counts a very, very good game.
It would have been competitive, a lot of rivalry there between the two clubs.
And then on the other side of the river, up north, a lot of rivalry between these two clubs, Wanneroo and Gwelup. With Wanneroo running out 3-2 winners.
Wow, considered an upset.
Considered an upset, definitely. I mean, Wanneroo, one of the better sides in Division 2 last year, and very unlucky not to come up.
Yep.
And Gwelup, who basically are just the NPL team in waiting. They've recruited extremely well over the last few years.
Yep.
I think they've got a couple of players this year that were playing NPL last year.
Yep.
Obviously whatever they're doing to attract those players is working for them.
Well, I think they've just got that ambition about them, and players can smell that, and they can see that it's a club that wants to go places, and if you're an experienced player that's been around the traps and you want to go to a club that's got a good vibe, and that's one thing that when you're at a club that says we want to be better, we're going in this direction.
But it's very much like Joondalup though. Joondalup came up from the amateurs, second division, went in the first year of Divi 1 and found it's not a cakewalk. There are a lot of very competitive sides in Division 1.
Yes.
And I would say that Wanneroo, although they're Div 2, are playing at a Div 1 standard.
Yep.
And I know a couple of their players that played last night. Ash Corker was at Ashfield last year, and he was their captain, and a couple of other boys. So they've also recruited well this year, and they're doing extremely well. Tim Cantor has been their coach, and he's taken them from rock bottom in 2016 to being a real title contender this year in competitive unit. And some good games coming up tonight. I think we've got Ashfield playing Dianella at Inglewood. And there's a few other games there. They escape me at the moment, but the Division 1's not looking as sewn up as it should be with that result. And I think Western Knights will definitely have something to say about it. They've recruited well themselves. They've got a couple of good lads joining them.
They lost some good stock as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they've replaced, whether they've replaced like for like. Yeah. No, it's interesting because I spoke with their coach at the last Glory game, and he reckons that some of that was just guys trying their luck and they'll be back. Yep. And he doesn't think he's lost that many. Okay. So Dianella should be up there. Definitely. Quins and Morley tonight. Yeah, Quins and Morley, that'll be another good game. Swan are also playing. Canning City and Shamrock Rovers. Yeah. Down at Plasterboard Centre Stadium in Inglewood. And then... what's the other? That's in Group C. I'll just have a look at Group D and see what other games we've got on. Your boys are playing Dianella tonight down at Plasterboard Stadium, and Olympic and Swan, the Green Machine against the good old Swan IC used to be another Premier League club. They were a big club in their day. Yes, they were. With Corey Hugo and the Scarley boys, a very proud club there. And Green Machine trying to get back, to their heady days. They got big plans for Olympic at the moment, just to redevelop that whole complex. So it's exciting for the local clubs. And Graham Normanton as coach. Normo, super Normo, super coach. And they've recruited very well in the last couple of years, and the change in the committee there has really reinvigorated the club. And I think John Ward carried it for so long, but didn't have the assistance he needed to drive it forward. No. That's happened. And I think whilst a lot of people don't recognise it, John kept that club going for so long. He pretty much carried it on his shoulders for a good while there, and really it was like on death's door. It was just on life support, and John wasn't really getting that support and backup that he needed. Now that that's what I like. I mean, everything's got to be a succession plan. There's got to be, to keep clubs alive. There's got to be a next generation baton change. It's a relay race to keep a club alive and keep. In that relay race, you've got to be able to hand that baton at the right time. Ebb and they flow, and things come and go. And we were talking to Phil Kelly from Ashfield. John Van Hook kept that club going for so long. Yep. Ziggy Kramer at Inglewood. You look at people who've just dedicated their lives to clubs. And sometimes you just look at them and you go, "Oh, you poor fellow. You're doing all the work. Yeah. You need help." Oh, look, Bill Busby a few years ago, I think he reverted to his slave name. So it happens, But Ashfield had juniors 20 years ago, Super League, kind of killed that for them. Yep. That's gone away. They had women's teams. They left. For a long time, it was just the State League side. Basically pitched in with Bunbury and with Forestfield at different times until they were strong enough to stand on their own. Yep. And now there's been another change in that evolution of Ashfield, and we'll talk to Phil Kelly after these adverts.
Everybody has goals. Whether it's learning a new skill or passing on knowledge, making new friends, is it finding a career path or reaching your full potential?
Chase your goals. See where football can take you.
Gate and Fence Hardware WA, your locally owned family business supplying materials, components and parts for fencing and gates. Compare brands, products and advice. Shipping anywhere. Visit our online store, gateandfencehardware.com.au. Station sponsor.
Are you considering data and software development? From a simple website to custom office automation software. Phone Andy at Dataplatz on 0414 263 938. That's 0414 263 938. station sponsor.
Now, the closed season is probably the busiest time in a club's life. People think it's during the playing season, but it's the off season where all the magic happens. And no more so than Ashfield this year. And I have on the line with me Phil Kelly, who is the treasurer over there at Ashfield. Good morning, Phil. How are you?
Good morning, Sean, and good morning, Don.
And we've also got Jim Dean in the studio.
Good morning, Phil.
Oh, g'day, Jim. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you.
Now, it's been an overnight success, but it was an overnight success that's about 6 or 7 years in the planning. Do you want to tell me what happened at Ashfield this summer?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Something we're very proud of. Simple, really. We will have junior football at Ashfield this year, which is a fantastic achievement in itself. But I guess what has really blown us away is the level of engagement and the numbers that we've managed to attract. It's certainly exceeded my own personal expectations, and even in some ways exceeded what I would hope to have happened as well. So look, we're sort of, I guess, buoyant from that at the moment, and looking long may it continue.
So the club's been long criticised for not having juniors. Why so long, and why now?
That's a really good point, actually. Look, I mean, the one thing, and obviously we should have had juniors for a long time. I mean, a long time ago. We actually started as a junior club many years ago, and I think the circumstances have resulted in the fact we don't have juniors. The one thing that was important for us as a club was that we had to do it properly. If we're going to do this in any way, shape or form, it had to be done properly, and that was one of the biggest things that has held us back. We've tried different things. We've tried putting in different teams, trying something small, etc., but the reality was that we just did not have the knowledge or the right people at the club to take juniors to the level it needed to be. So I guess now, and through, a number of meetings, and this has evolved, it's changed shape at least about 10 times that I can think of. We now have been able to recruit a number of people via the Aspire Sports coaching group, who basically, they're able to manage that process for us. They're bringing in the expertise that we were severely lacking for so many years, and they can run, operate, manage our junior program from the ground up.
Yeah, and that's been a massive thing for the club. Also, I believe there's going to be a ladies' team this year, which Penny will be happy about.
Yeah, well, we do. We have a ladies' team, and that's another area which we'd always been looking to explore. But again, it's one of those things. We started with one team, and now it's looking like we might have enough numbers for 2 or 3. So we've had an explosion of interest in juniors and in women's football, which is fantastic for the club, and it's certainly part of our long-term strategic plan as well.
Hey Phil, congratulations on keeping the mighty Ashfield up and running, and now getting super ambitious and building the club up. You boys have done a tremendous job along with Bill in giving Ashfield that professional profile. The catchment now for you guys, have you found that more people in your area are warming to playing football, or are you getting, what's the demographics of the new interest from the young ones coming through?
We've got a changing demographic in the Bassendean, sort of Guildford, Swan area, where we're talking old suburbs here that, traditionally have been homes west or pension sort of belts, if you like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new families moving into the area now. There's a lot of subdivisions. People obviously building on old blocks and putting on 4 or 5 different houses. So there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of new families coming into the area. So that's one thing that we've identified that has been coming through. But we've had a lot of interest from places like Belmont and Kewdale and areas like that. And these are massive growth areas that are probably untapped in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting a lot of interest from just over the river in our area. So for us, it's South Guildford, Belmont, those sorts of places where a lot of people are coming from at the moment as well.
And having the train line handy wouldn't hurt.
I think it is helpful.
Yeah.
It is certainly helpful. But I mean, particularly with junior football, I mean, you need somewhere close. You need somewhere to, you don't want to be driving across town to be taking kids to football at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon for training. So.
Now, you mentioned the Spire Sports Training are going to take the carriage of the juniors. You want to just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so look at Aspire Sports Coaching, and you've got Jim Dean in there today to have a chat. I'm not going to steal too much of his thunder, so he can talk about Aspire and what they're offering us. But look, at the end of the day, what do Aspire bring to us? Qualified coaches for every single age group. So all of our coaches will be qualified across the board. They bring the expertise. They'll have a curriculum. They know junior football. It's what they do. They live and breathe it every day. I mean, these guys are professionals at what they do. So they'll effectively take ownership of the junior program and run and operate it for us. They sit on our committee. They're basically a part of our club. And they're just bringing that significant level of expertise that we haven't had.
It reminds me... Sorry, Phil. Yeah, it just reminds me, took me back to when we had the King's Academy come and join Stirling, and we had people who were just fantastic at developing young kids, and that was Mitch Doherty and his team, and Jimmy and the Aspire group sound exactly like that. That you know, they know their work. They've got a job to do. They'll do that for the club, and you know, if it wasn't for these type of people, Stirling would not have been that resurgent club it became for that, you know, call it 10-year period from 2005 to 2015. So, mate, you're on the right track. It's a great initiative.
No, it's fantastic. And look, and Jim and I, we've spent hours on the phone and together and chatting just about, you know, philosophies and ideas and about what we think we can achieve. And look, we're really excited about the direction we're heading. You know, it's all looking very positive. At the end of the day, I mean, this is all about developing kids. It's about, we want to develop community programs. We want to go out. We want to look at exploring every opportunity that we can to grow our game in our region. And you know, I think with Aspire, we'll definitely be on the right path to do that.
So with growth comes the need for space. And how are you managing that with your local council? They're being friendly and supportive?
We've got a fantastic relationship with our council. We're one of the most fortunate clubs in Perth at the moment. We've got a massive amount of space that we have access to 12 months of the year. We're currently negotiating with them on upgrading our lights. We've actually had our current lights have all been replaced this year as well. So, you know, there's a little bit more quality in there. But we're starting to talk to them about actually lighting up the entire reserve. Because I think in the next 2 or 3 years we'll definitely need it. So,
and has the addition of juniors, particularly juniors playing from the Bassendean Ashfield area, helped that process?
Oh, it's significant. I mean, effectively, we'll probably take on, you know, somewhere in the region of 80 to 100 kids this year. Yeah, potentially that's 100 ratepayers influencing local government. So, I mean, and it's a numbers game. When we're in that discussion. But fortunately, like I said, we do have a very good relationship with both the executive and the elected members on council. And I guess we've leveraged those relationships reasonably well in the past, and we should continue to do so. And we can thank our President, Bill Busby, for that, because he does a fantastic job engaging council and politicians. Obviously, it's actually his forte. That's what he loves doing, and he does so well.
And that famous little incident where the local residents were just a little bit of a thorn in the club's backside, all been smoothed over. All the local residents on side now and basically all become Ashfield members.
Don, they actually.
I don't think you can please everybody.
and it's to be remembered that we did get prime time coverage of a game being played in WA on Channel 7 News.
Live.
Like they say, there is no such thing as
bad publicity. Absolutely.
And I actually want to point out, I mean, that particular exchange that we had actually brought us a lot of support in the town from people that you know, normally probably wouldn't have said anything or wouldn't have come out, and it actually was a massive positive for us that entire exchange ended up. We actually did quite well out of it. So no, it's good. Like I said, there is no such thing as bad publicity, and that's probably a very good example. Yeah.
Now, I feel like I can hear your son in there in the background, and I know that he needs your attention more than I do. And we've got Jim here, so I'll let you go, and
we'll grill Jimmy now.
We'll grill Jimmy.
Look forward to it. Yeah, perfect. Sounds good.
Jimmy Dean's Grill and Bar was a place in Midland not so long ago.
Very, very good bar as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Phil.
Nice talking to you, Phil.
Thanks, guys.
See you, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Phil Kelly, just one of the very hard-working team of volunteers down there at Ashfield, and
he brings that corporate professional edge to the club, doesn't he? And that's where dynamics within a committee have to be. Yeah, you've got to have people from all walks of life. You need your plumber and your mechanic on the board. You need your accountant, a lawyer, or whatever. Anyone that's got special skills can bring it to the table and help a club make call it the right decision.
And then you need a good president that can grab them all together, point them all in the same direction.
herd the cats.
It is herding cats at times, yeah. But
from our point of view, with both Phil and Bill being so forward thinking, really positive to what we're trying to achieve as a group, as well as develop the club.
Yep.
Some mentality for the future of the club as well.
So Jim, again, as I said to Howard, you don't have an Aussie accent, so
give us your background.
You're 8 months here, so you've only been suckered in by one wild summer.
Yeah. What part of sunny England did you come from?
I'm a
Jimmy?
London boy.
London lad.
I'm a London boy.
Yep.
I've been very fortunate to have been involved in football. I call it football, but soccer. Soccer for 15 to 17 years on a full-time basis. Most of my expertise would be in the junior department through the setup of youth teams, etc., and development coach for different particular clubs. So I was fortunate enough to work at some of Premier Academy teams as well.
Which ones in particular?
Millwall. Worked at development level at Chelsea and both at Liverpool. And I was fortunate enough to get a position at Dagenham Redbridge at the time, which was a League Two club, to run their youth team. And then a year after that, I was...
He was going right till he said Millwall, wasn't he?
Fortunate enough to be involved in a development group at Dagenham Redbridge at League Two level for a couple of seasons, a little bit time ago.
And as a player?
Player-wise, had a few trials as a youngster, played particularly non-league football.
I had a few trials, none for football.
Mine was all for football. Again, it was one at Millwall, one at West Ham and Birmingham City. Wasn't fortunate enough to be quite good enough, so I took the route of non-league level, youth teams, etc. And then decided to go down the coaching path because I wasn't happy with what was happening with my own children at the time. So I thought I'd go down that road, which has given me some fantastic experiences over the last 10, 15 years.
What are the changes that you've noticed in that time? We spoke about the first touch and making sure that footballers could kill the ball.
I think particularly here, Don, for me in the short time I've been here and been involved in junior soccer here, it is all to do with contact. A lot of people here, what I've seen is once a week training, you play your game on Sundays. Back in the UK, as you're probably aware, it becomes a lifestyle. Especially if you're looking at the elite groups. I mean, if you're talking at the academy type level, most of you youngsters, even from your 7s and 8s, are training 2 to 3 times a week, plus their games on a weekend. So there's much more contact on that. It's much more obviously widespread in schools and levels and district levels, county levels, etc. And we've got a massive. The club that I used to run, we was involved in a league with over 700-800 teams in at various levels, obviously in age groups. So to come in here, it's been a more of a relaxed type environment.
It's a bit laid back here in Australia.
I'm slowly getting used to that. I'm not too,
well, you know what WA stands for.
I do. I found that out many times.
Wait a while.
But we're getting used to it. But obviously, from what we're trying to develop here is trying to change a mentality, maybe, because we understand that it's the fastest growing sport in WA. So with our link with both Ashfield and Kalamunda United, we've been brought in by both those clubs to try and enhance their development program that they have currently in place. Or obviously in Ashfield's case, it was starting from scratch, which we've been fortunate enough to be able to get off the road very successfully, which we're really happy about. And increase the contact time with the children, and even change the philosophy of what days they train on as well. we're trying to make a model whereby, we, for instance, we will train on a Friday or Tuesday and a Friday, which is basically closer to the game. So anything that a coach might work on the Friday is a little bit more fresher in little Johnny's head, maybe an 8-year-old, 9-year-old's head, than maybe what it would be training and coaching him on a Wednesday.
Aspire Sports Coaching, what is Aspire Sports Coaching? Who are the people? Sure. What is the philosophy and the driving mandate for Aspire?
Basically, it's, my son set this up about 3 to 5 years ago, with a business partner of his, being that he's from the UK as well. He knew that the model I was working with back in the UK and wanted to transfer that from there to here. It's an after-school provision service as well as working with the club structure as well. My son became very friendly with Yanni Papilibis, whereby he brought him into his club, and they developed a program and a model where we would have accredited coaches coming along and training children, instead of, no disrespect, sometimes mums, dads, etc., maybe people that are not as qualified. So they set that program up fantastically well. And the philosophy basically is we're into development and trying to build players for individual clubs that we work with. So they've got that pathway and that exit strategy towards their first team, maybe reserves or under 18s or whatever level they want, whether it's for fun or whether they want to move forward into senior, standard football. We're trying to develop a model where they've got qualified coaches right from a younger age group all the way through, hopefully into the first team that we're currently working with, which will be obviously Ashfield. That's a couple of years away, because we're only just starting, but that's the general outlook that we're trying to achieve.
And given the choice between development and winning, you're not going to be bringing in kids to win leagues and...
No. We've got an ethos where it's football for all. We've done a lot of football recently in trying to promote Ashfield as our new club, and that's literally going around local schools, leaflet dropping, posters, banners, going into schools themselves and speaking to the phys ed teachers in there and telling them what our program's all about. And that's been proven in relation to our registration, been very successful, and we're hoping to continue with that. For our point of view, it's football for all. It's a community-based club, but giving a pathway for both sets of players. I'm trying to choose the words. People that just want to play for fun and social aspects, but equally giving kids that have got an opportunity, that have got ability, that want to transfer that and progress through the club. We give them that sort of...
So as a player, as a youngster, a 6 or 7 year old signing up, obviously not reliant on, as I was, some dad been mugged into doing the coaching role and then getting trained. We've got someone who's trained, dedicated coach, who's going to train those kids. What else do the kids get? I mean, they turn up, and it always used to be turn up Tuesday, Thursday, do the training, go home. Is there anything else going on around that? Is there any assessments? Is there...
Absolutely. What we're trying to what we will be installing is like what we call a homework booklet. So we've devised a homework booklet to go away with, to be sent out to our players once a month, so they get a little task to go out down the park with mum or dad and practice, because we know that the contact time that we have with them is not as great as what we would like, but we understand the restrictions upon that, other family issues and other children doing other activities, etc. So we've got something in place for that, so they can take away and practice on their own. Because, as I say, coming from where I come from, football's like life or death. Whereas here you've got so many different other things you can go and do, the beach, etc., and different activities. It's a different way, a mentality here. So it's about trying to change that mentality a little bit subtly. So we produce our own players and hopefully get them to play at the best level they can. I
can remember kicking an orange on the way to school, tennis ball at tea break, and a proper football during the lunch break, and then back to the orange at the end of the day. So it's interesting.
Look, for me, the most important thing when you are dealing with getting kids engaged is having training sessions and things that they actually can relate to, and giving them the ball and understanding, saying to them, well, this ball's here to be shared, and it's up to you to work out, your skills to make sure you share it with best value. So, moving that ball around. So for me, players who like to run with the ball, you don't want to rub that out of them, because for me,
getting the balance right.
Getting the balance right, and then teaching the kids how to just go and have fun with their mates. Scoring a goal is important. Defending a goal is important. All these things make the fabric of football life, but it's just making sure they have fun with it.
And I think that's the key. It's football must be fun.
It must be fun. That's right.
Because once it becomes a chore, it becomes.
It's plenty of time for it to be a chore when they get a lot older. Our program is very, very simplistic and basic, if you want to call it that. It's very skill orientated, with lots of problem solving, lots of decision making, lots of fun, small-sided type games with different scenarios within those games. But as I say, with the emphasis is to try and let them coach themselves as well and problem solve within the game, and give them ownership to the game as well. Because too many times, when in the small time, as I say, I've been here and obviously back in England, you get a hell of a lot of people screaming and shouting from the sidelines and giving information out, and that can be disruptive to a child.
It's almost overload,
It's too much.
And the information, you can, as a player, I still remember as a kid, having my father on the sideline just, screaming out at me saying, give the ball, pass the ball, it just stuck in your head, and you thought, I've got the coach telling me to hold the ball. Now I've got you telling me to pass the bloody ball. Who do I listen to?
Exactly.
And that's where, I think in the UK a lot of the parents get shuffled into a corner and not allowed to be anywhere near the kids.
There's been a massive change in the UK about how parents are to behave at clubs, and they do have some very, very strict rules there, with parents being ejected from games if they even shout at the children from the sidelines. They're there to encourage. They're there to cheer, but the moment they start coaching, they're gone.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because you're at a club that a coach has gone through the curriculum for himself to educate himself. Let him do that. I wouldn't go to a building site and start screaming at someone, but you're not laying that brick properly. I've never laid a brick in my life. So
good analogy.
Everyone seems to become a football coach on a weekend, which is our philosophy, which will be engaging with the parents as time wears on. We've got a code of conduct for parents as well, where we're asking them to sign that, so they adhere to our, I wouldn't like to say rules, but our sort of our philosophy.
It's buying into that philosophy and culture,
and
isn't it?
Literally is what we just spoke about. Stand there, encourage by all means, encourage, and
I do feel sorry for some parents who are, let's just say, football smart. They, they actually have played the game. They might have been great players in their own time, and they go on the sideline wanting to offer advice to their son because they see that something that the coach on the other side can't see. So and this is where I sort of allow what I call the intelligent parent to have a say. And sometimes you try to engage them into your coaching staff and say, look, all right, I want you to stay on the other side of the pitch, and if you spot something, be there as my assistant coach, but the thing is, the message has to be coming loud and clear from the main coach. It's got to be, you both agree that these are the things that you got to look out for. If you see a player in a better position and he can't see it, you yell out, give it to Jimmy down the right, or give an instruction. For me, I can see a positive in that, rather than a parent saying, shoot, don't pass, it's do it yourself, all that sort of stuff. So there's that parent who just wants everything to go right for their son, and they don't care about the team. And then you got, the other parent who's an intelligent ex-footballer is trying to pass on, a little bit of vision. So look up, he's free on the right, that sort of stuff. All these things can help.
For me, my experience, a lot of the people that I've known who have played professionally and have played a decent level, they tend to sort of ostracise themselves from others anyway. And they'll stay aside and just give little bits of encouragement, little bits of information. I think if the coach knows that, we understand that, if it's good information, then it's worth saying. If it's just screaming and shouting anything where little Johnny doesn't know what he's doing,
it's confusing the kids.
It's very confusing for them, and they're not going to enjoy it.
Correct.
And for, our ethos will 100% be, it's not about if we can coach and set a plan in place where we're developing players. And I think you mentioned earlier, Sean, about are we going to be trophy coaches or trophy teams, or
No.
My philosophy is pure and simple. If they play the game and we coach them the correct way, 9 times out of 10, generally at this sort of level, performances will get them their required result. And that might be what we call winning.
Trophies come as a consequence of doing the job right, and as I keep saying, like for me, my philosophy was always the player is the trophy. If we develop a good player and he goes on and plays at a higher level, or he goes to the UK and makes a career out of it, I want that photo of that young lad up in the, because those photos don't tarnish. Silverware tarnishes, and you've got to polish it every now and then. So I appreciate the clubs that believe that without silverware you're not seen as a successful club. I think there's a balance. I think if you're doing things right, the cream your fruits will come to rise and win things for you at the highest level.
You can develop players that go through your system. Parents might look at that and say, well, they do a decent job because they're playing at the highest level they possibly can. They might be able to play even higher. That's what the ultimate dream is. But if you can show that there's a clear pathway, a technical program in place, and you're a development type club with that ethos about, it's not just the star players, it's about, I'm interested in the other 99%.
Well, I suppose the thing is, when you look at it from a holistic approach at a club, a healthy and decent club would have players who are playing social, amateur, state or MPL, and girls playing in their leagues as well through to adults. So the whole point of this is that if you're not developing the next Lionel Messi or the next Dino Gilbic or Taggart, then you're producing the next state league player and the next social league player.
Absolutely.
But everybody has the right to play this game for fun, and there are plenty of people who've never played anything higher than socials who just go out there and have a great time.
Well, here's a little snippet for you. I'll read a little paragraph from a young lad here who I had the pleasure of seeing at our club at Stirling for a short spell, but he was an ECU Joondalup product, and ECU very, very good at developing good young talent and then giving him opportunity in the UK. But this is young Jack Iredale, who was with Perth Glory youth team, and he moved over to Scotland, and he's been playing in the Scottish Championship with a team called, let's have a look here, Greenock Morton. Greenock Morton. And this paragraph sums up what we're trying to do here with all the kids. But Iredale admits it was difficult to leave the Glory last year without a chance in the A-League, but he has no regrets. It was disappointing. I was training with the first team basically full-time, but there just didn't seem to be a clear pathway that I could see for myself, he said. I knew that if I wanted to be a pro footballer, I needed to go and chase that elsewhere. Perth were good to me in my time at the club, but I thought if this is what I want to do, I have to make something of it. But now he has got an opportunity in Scotland. The left-back is eager to cement his spot. Football in Europe is such a different culture to back home, especially with promotion and relegation and playoff spots and all that stuff, Iredale said. I've definitely been learning about the culture and how dog-eat-dog it is. There's no prisoners here. If you make a mistake, you know about it, and that might be your opportunity gone. Growing up as a kid, my dream was to play football in Europe, and right now I'm doing that. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I get an extension or keep playing football in Europe. It sounds cliched, but it's the best job in football, and it's all I've ever wanted to do. I'm really happy, so I just want to carry on over here. So there's a young lad, basically, telling us how his dream is unfolding. And it is a different culture. I mean, when you go to Europe, football is life. Football is death. It could be the end of you if you don't make it. You're basically, discarded.
But what a great story! I mean, 3 knee reconstructions at his age, and
brilliant.
And he's still there, still battling, still trying.
Mate, the whole story's on the Football WA website for the listeners out there. It's a great little read, and Jack's just another one of our local kids who had the dream, the ambition, but also had the skills. He got taught. He was well skilled at a young age, and he went on with it. He's become a mature young man, now wanting to show that he can cut it at the high level. So good luck to Jack. He's a great lad.
Coupled with what we're trying to achieve, you just don't make them hopefully you want to make them as best football players as you possibly can, but with the interaction socially with all the groups that they're working with, you make them better people long term as well, with the discipline.
True.
You know, the commitment levels, etc. You know, something. What I've found here is it's pretty much pick up and drop down very quickly. You know, the season's so short.
Yeah.
You know, we've had discussions with our group particularly that we want to maybe elongate the season in a different format, maybe go into futsal league and continue that.
Yeah.
Because I've been lucky enough to experience and be involved with players that are still playing in the EPL, and I know the dedication and hard work they had to put in to reach that goal. You know, and you try and say that to someone here, it's a mentality for sure.
Yeah,
you know, and commitment levels and hard work.
And being involved in those programs over there, where you've been taking the best of the best for the likes of Liverpool, but even the Dagenham Redbridge sides where they're pulling players through, it really is a tough environment. I can remember Scott Bullock when he went across. I know his dad quite well, and he went for a trial in Scotland and was told by the coach at the time that you're as good as anyone I've got in this town. Yeah. But if I take you on, I've got to provide you with a home and a chaperone and a local kid. I don't have to do that. And there's those little 1%ers that make all the difference.
Correct. Yeah, and really, you can understand that the player has to be exceptional. Has to be like Stan Lazaridis went to West Ham and
Harry Kill.
You know, when they went there, they showed, and even Craig Johnson. When you go back, Craig Johnson was never ever a fantastic footballer. He was just a determined person that wanted to prove that he could cut the grade, and his success was more mental strength.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when you go through that, Kevin Keegan, who was told, go away son, you're too small, too light, ended up being England captain, England coach, only because he was not going to let that dream go and was prepared to do whatever it took to get there.
Yep.
And going back to what you just mentioned there about the lower level of the professional league, watching players there. I mean, we talk about the Messis, etc., but they're few and far between. They're ones.
They're ones. Yeah.
The odd.
But now from non-league football, you're getting the Jamie Vardys.
Absolutely. The pathway from non-league now is becoming
Antonio Valencia. They're all coming through.
Absolutely. It's becoming even more professional at that level as well, from the Conference South upwards.
Yeah.
And the National League, particularly in the UK, they're all full-time teams now.
Yeah.
So they're on full-time wages, etc., etc. So that the ability, it hasn't got to be the super standout, skillful player. But, I've met lots of players that are not decent football players, but have got a fantastic work ethic and a desire not to be beat.
Yeah.
And they might not be the best on the ball, but they bring something to the team.
Yeah.
That you need. It's a massive jigsaw puzzle, and you need all sorts of players.
Oh, absolutely. You need your grafters. You need your Matt Letiziers that can do, 30 seconds worth of work was just magic, and the other 9.5 minutes they're not even there. So,
yeah.
You need that balance. But I suppose again, coming back to where you are with your philosophy, you would rather be developing a kid that was going to only ever play at a social level to the best he can be, as opposed to taking one kid and making him a full-time professional.
That's a tough ask.
Yeah.
That's a tough ask. I mean, listen, you get all sorts turn up at your club.
Yeah.
It's about us identifying what their needs are and what we can provide their needs with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's all the other factors that are in place with how far they want to travel down that pathway. Being that it's a new venture, without Phil and Bill, really pushing this forward for us, it's been difficult for us to take that on because we've done our homework as well. We've looked at the logistics and what players that you've tried to have in the past. But for going forward for us, it's about football for all. Simple. A community club, back with ethics of that, and we don't want to turn anybody away.
No, it's
about involvement, enjoyment.
For me, it's always been your club has to be a second home for the children, and a place that they can come to, trust the people that are there, and enjoy, call it the skills that they're being taught, and make good friends, and that's the key. Building teams is all about, making everyone feel that they have a role to play within a team rather than just making up a number.
And the other thing is, as a dad coach myself, I had a team which was reasonably successful.
Yeah.
And when someone said to me, how many of these do you think you'll get in the stateside? I said, I'm not that bothered. I'm more interested in how many of them will still be playing when they're 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them were to a degree. There's only 3 or 4 that didn't, but they were all playing at different levels, and some were playing in, for Inglewood and other teams, and some were playing social league at Forestfield, but it didn't matter. They were still playing, and that to me was the key as a coach, was to have those kids love the game that much that they would still keep playing it, no matter where. And that's the key, I think, for the development.
Absolutely.
It's about developing that love of the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely, and building that community spirit.
Yeah.
For us, it's hopefully the club as well. We want to make that the hub, and we've got lots of ideas going around the local community. Schools
engaging the schools is so important, and having teachers that are there that actually know who the coaches are at the club gives the teachers a connection to the club, and they almost become like, I won't call them recruitment agents for you, but they become salesmen of the club, basically saying, hey, this is a good club. The people here actually care about people. They actually teach you good, call it core values, as well as skills in a sport that is enjoyable to play. And
I suppose the thing is, the professional coaching takes out a lot of those things that happen. As a mum and dad coach, you either do one or two things. You make your kid's life hell, or you give him a bit of an easy ride. So, and even if you're not, you'll get accused of doing one or the other. So
I think from our model is purely, we want accredited people teaching, because we are teachers in all sense of purposes. We are teachers, so we don't want parents having to rush from work, coming down there, taking little Stevie in his team. They can rely on us to hopefully do a decent job. Their kids to learn, be socially engaged, make new friends, and become part of something, hopefully, that they want to be a part of for a long period.
Do you also sort of incorporate like a meal night for the young kids, so they're all eating together, like a pasta night or a pizza night, after training?
Yes,
that sort of thing.
Basically, we've done that in the past. We're looking to have. I've got
sharing food together is a really important part.
Pizza nights. We've got a couple of things involved. We're having a workshop with someone who's a sports scientist and stuff like that. People I know in the past that play professionally that live here. One of them coming down and having a chat with all the players and telling them what sort of how much hard work's involved in becoming a top level football player, or even a lower level football player.
But there are other things, and we've done this before with our senior side. Is we've brought in dietitians, the physios. We've brought in people to talk to them about health insurance, because it is so important. And when you see, particularly towards the end of the season, a player breaks his leg and they're passing the hat around, when you're playing at particularly at state or higher, really you need to have good coverage, because as a tradesman, and we had a bricklayer who broke his arm, just fell, landed on his arm awkwardly, broke his elbow, almost 18 months out of work. And if he wasn't adequately insured, everything goes. You lose your business, you lose your livelihood. So, they're the sorts of things that educating someone to be a rounded person, and as you said earlier on about developing people, not just a footballer. There's criticism of some elite programs around the town and elsewhere, that these guys walk around thinking they've already made it, and they don't talk or associate with anyone because they're just too good. And that's not what you want. You want them to be, decent, honest young people.
To continue to develop and have that sort of feel about it. You have to start from the bottom. You have to start at the bottom and get out there and get around the schools and local community to get them people involved. So they become and feel a part of it. So they want to come and join, and then end up doing work within the club, behind the bar, arranging all sorts of social events, potentially to raise some funds for the club. So if you set the right environment in place, and you have the right environment, people will tend to come to you, hopefully.
Yes. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, absolutely.
To quote Field of Dreams.
Yes. Good reputations, and especially in the football world, when you've got something running well, the grapevine works beautifally. People come to you.
In the small time, as I say, we've been working in the Perth area. Clubs like we go down to Kalamunda, they're putting in fantastic events, free events for girls, local kids, on a
and talking of which, I think on the 18th of February, there is a free training session for girls at Dorrien Garden that will be run by Marianne Tabane and Tash Rigby, two of the W League Glory players. So for any young ladies out there that are looking to expand their skills and meet two very good players, get yourself down at Dorrien Gardens, 9:30 on the 18th of February. Again, another great initiative by the Glory and Perth to get that happening for girls, because contact with your heroes is so important.
Absolutely. And that's something that we'll be looking to do ourselves, as an initiative throughout the course of the season, setting up a little Saturday morning club before games are played on the first team pitch, getting them kids in, seeing what can be achieved if you work hard at it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's what needs to happen. It is a long process.
It's going to happen over the season. It's a 5-year plan minimum.
That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely, it is.
And you'll see the rewards by year 3. You'll actually see the fruit starting to come through the senior system.
Absolutely.
It does work.
Yeah, no, look, and we've got some good kids. We had some great kids last year. A couple of them have gone to Forestfield to play NPL, and they go with the blessing, because that's how we should be.
That's football.
That's where they need to be. They need to be pushing themselves.
Yep.
And if we do that to start off with, that's what happens. But hopefully we get ourselves in the NPL, and then those kids can really start to show their stuff for us. And if they don't succeed, they can always come back.
Yep.
Jim, been a pleasure. Best of luck with your endeavours. I know you're working very, very hard to make it a success. I know from the registration day it was a success, and more than anyone at the club could hope for. And the way it's going, we'll have a very good and healthy junior system this year.
That's what the plan is, Sean.
No worries. Thank you,
Thank
Jim.
you for your time.
No worries. Great to meet you, Jim.
All right, we'll go to some messages, and we'll be back after that with Jacob Burns, who is the head of football at Perth Glory, and we'll talk to him about
the exciting Chelsea game.
Yeah, that'll be one part. And
the other exciting games coming up.
Yes, we've got a few.
Split round.
Yes, absolutely. I don't like split rounds. No. All right, we shall be back after these.
Rachel Pepper, illustration and design for print and web. Contact Rachel at rachelpepper.com. Station sponsor.
The team behind footballwa.net can boast the best independent local football website and football forums in WA. These are sites devoted entirely to promoting the local game and our history. Visit footballwa.net for the World Football Program guest lineup every Friday. Radio Fremantle, recognising volunteers who support football in the local community.
Oswest Fencing and Wrought Iron, a family business. Isn't that right, Rose?
Sure is, Mum, and I'm the 4th generation and proud of it.
Visit the galleries on our new website for ideas. All custom-built projects. Ask us about wrought iron, aluminium, timber, gates and automation. oswestfencing.com.au. 4 generations of old-fashioned family business in your local community.
Station sponsor.
We're just having a few gremlins in the room. Trying to get a hold of Jacob at the moment, and
the dreaded silence.
Oh, the dreaded silence! I hate that. I think it's interesting when we look at what's going on around our game and some of the junior programs. I noticed that Grelup have recruited extremely well. They've got Williams, who's now running their junior program. So he's back in Perth. Eric Williams.
Eric's got a great name for developing young talent, and
absolutely,
obviously producing young talent as well.
Yes, he is.
he's a great pickup for Guelph, and I think that's one of the things with Clubland, Sean, that everyone who runs a club wants to get the right people, the right mix, and so important for clubs to have that part of their structure run by people who know what they're doing. And in Jim and the Aspire group, I think Ashfield are very, very fortunate to have picked up his services. He's
unbelievably fortunate to get hold of Aspire and Jim and the team. They're very professional people and very driven. Talking of people who are very professional and very driven, and one of my all-time favourite Glory players, on the line we have Jacob Burns, who is now the head of football at the Glory. Morning, Jacob. How are you?
Very well, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on. We'll talk about a few things, but obviously there's some very sad news this morning about Liam Miller, someone that you've played with, and I think it sent a shiver through the whole football community. We're all deeply saddened by his loss.
Oh, absolutely devastated this morning to wake up to that news. Obviously, Liam, a very good mate and fellow teammate of mine. Not only a fantastic player, but a fantastic person, and I'm sure everyone is sending their love to his family and friends all over the world. Just a huge tragedy and an unbelievable loss.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the reaction across the internet has really shown you what people think of the man, and he's been a great ornament to the game, and he'll be deeply missed.
Yeah, a special guy. I think everyone's coming out and saying it, but the ones that were able to be fortunate enough to spend some time with him in and out, in and around the change room and on the field. He was a special player for me and an incredible guy. My heart goes out to Claire and the kids, and in such a difficult time. Speaking to my family this morning, it was one of them kind of emotional things where you sometimes get caught up and take everything for granted, but life's such a precious thing. It
certainly is. Now, other news on a much brighter front and still emotional and still brings a different type of shiver. Chelsea coming to Perth. What a fantastic thing.
Yeah, huge for not only Australian football, but in particular WA football and the WA public, who often don't get to see some of the big clubs in the world come and play at one of our own fantastic stadiums. And credit to the government and to WA Tourism for getting behind it. And I think it's going to be a wonderful spectacle. The current Premier League champions to be here for all of WA, but all of Australia, to be able to get inside the stadium and get up and close to see what kind of a level they bring to our land would be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Look, and I think Don and I go back a bit, but even back in the 60s, Chelsea were one of the glamour clubs. They've never stopped being a glamour club, and I think whilst there's a big following locally for them, it's about the other things that will happen. Every person that owns a blue shirt will be coming in from all over Southeast Asia to see their favourite team. Yeah, I think so. It's one of them. I think that if the blue shirts aren't coming from all over East and all of the other states and Asia, Southeast Asia in particular, I'm sure to the kind of I suppose the new fans coming to the game, I'm sure they'll be going home with a blue shirt and hopefully a Glory shirt to go along with it.
That's the plan, Jacob, and great initiative again. Congratulations to the club and to the state government, as you said. Doing something big like this really helps put our town on the map for the round ball and the game we all love. But it's also good to see that they're making it affordable with the $49 ticket there for families. We'll call it as the base price, which in tough times makes it fair for all to come and see.
Yeah, and so it should be. I think that people should be able to go and see a team like Chelsea play Glory and to be able to take the whole family out and not have to take out a loan to be able to go and see that. And it is a fantastic stadium. Seeing it firsthand over the last couple of months, and in particular the launch of the game. It's just going to be there isn't a bad seat in the house. It's going to be fantastic, and I'm sure it will be the catalyst for a number of teams. I know that spending time at the function that they were already fielding calls from a lot of other big clubs, international clubs that are showing huge interest in coming out here because, obviously for myself and having some history over in the Premiership and coming out on, far Asia tours and into Australia as well to play, it's a wonderful part of their pre-season, to come to a safe environment, to a fantastic country like ours, but also to be able to probably play another couple of games through age on the way back through or the way out is good preparation for them guys.
Absolutely.
I was just going to ask for Glory members, there is a special, call it, how do you get tickets if you're a Glory member? What's the process?
Yeah, look, they just tickets go on sale straight away, and obviously it was pushed out to our members first and foremost, and I'm sure many of them have taken up, as you mentioned, the fantastic deals in being able to get out there. And I think they've all locked it in their calendar. They're all ready to do it. And, if we can also, so, as I mentioned before, some of the new people to the game itself, to the round ball game, if they can have sharing that experience and we can get some more members on board, that's a massive result for us as a club as well.
So tickets are on sale Monday because I got my thing through my membership telling me that I can buy up to 20 tickets come Monday morning. Yep. And then they go on sale to the general public Wednesday. So, you're hoping for some big numbers.
Yeah, look, I think all indications suggest when the last time they were out, a club of that magnitude attracts a lot of support, and they're pretty hopeful of getting huge numbers in there again.
Yeah, and we're sitting around about 8,500 members, 20 tickets each. That's the stadium full. But
numbers done. So great news again for Sammy Kerr. She just keeps taking call it the awards by storm. She's just on fire, Sammy.
Oh, she's a superstar. Not only here on our shores, but globally. She's making ripples throughout world football, and it's fantastic to be able to call her one of our own. And long may it continue. I think that she's going to have even bigger memories and more accolades if that's possible. But I think the Matildas also. I think the government's got behind their bid for the World Cup, and I really think that will go. I think that they will definitely get a Women's World Cup here, and hopefully we can be successful over in Russia, and in years to come we can have a successful bid as well for the Men's World Cup as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, looking at success, this season for the men's team, it's in the balance. We could make the finals, but
we're not dead yet.
We're not dead yet.
Still alive.
No, we historically we always finish very strong. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think it's been a difficult season for Kenny and the squad and the club with the amount of injuries that we've had. I think we've collectively we've had Kenny hasn't had the full quota of players. He hasn't had a headache. The team was basically picking itself based on the people that were available, which is never a good situation to be in. But look, it's we can't dwell on that. We've got to treat each and every game as a cup final from here on in. And I suppose the harsh kind of start to the season we had with victory in 9 out of the first 12 away, we've got 5 out of the last 7 at home. So that's going to make a big difference if we can get on a roll and if we can get the guys coming back. Obviously, there's a week's break in the split round this weekend, so that allows us a little bit more time to get some more guys back on the paddock for the trip over to Wellington.
It's interesting what you say about picking those that are available, because out of that has come a couple of great outcomes, and obviously young Italiano is a fantastic player and has got a great future ahead of him. But I remember one game where a lad who's expected to be watching it on the telly or sitting in the stands gets the phone call, and then you've got Walter Scott playing left back. He's done a terrific job in that game, and then we've not seen him again. Is he on the horizon? Is he?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as you mentioned, there is a silver lining in when your first team players, and you get a whole lot of injuries, and that is, exposing young, unbelievable WA talent, and Italiano is probably the one that springs to mind for everyone. But there are a number of our scholarship boys. We've given out, 3 of our scholarship contracts this year. A lot of them are involved in the young national teams, the under-20s and the Ollie Roo.
Yeah.
And they'll be big players for us in the future. And Walter Scott is definitely one of them. He's got a big future at the club, and he should feature more coming into the tail end of the season and in years to come.
Yeah, there's certainly some quality in those youth ranks. Brandon Wilson's doing terrific things, both for the club and internationally, which is good. But going back to the injuries and some of the things that happened in the pre-season, as the head of football, are you looking at the causes for that? Are there things like is there a problem with the training ground? Is there a problem with the length of the pre-season, the intensity, those sorts of things that we've learnt from?
Yeah, absolutely. We're reviewing that, and we've got an independent review going on as we speak. And the two damning factors, I think, that I've never seen in my time in the last 10 years at Glory, but the fixturing's been a big one. I think, to do 50,000 or so kilometres is going to be a huge factor, I think, in the report, where, you're forced to recover on planes. And, being from WA, and we're not saying we don't have to travel. Yes, we do, but we would like to see the FFA use a bit of common sense in the way they fixture and they scatter them games out to do some of our longest trips to Wellington and Newcastle in the opening round. Off the back of, how difficult it is to play pre-season games. We're not fortunate enough to be a Sydney or a Central Coast or Newcastle where you jump on a bus and you can automatically have 4 or 5, A-League benchmark fixtures under your belt before you start the season proper. And that's not discrediting the local talent and the NPL clubs that are here, but you really do need to benchmark yourself against your Sydneys and your Melbournes, and it's a difficult task funds-wise, but also logistically to be able to go and do that before the season starts proper. So that I think that will be highlighted for sure as well. That we definitely need more of them games. We need hardened games before we start. And in my eyes, 5 or 6 is probably the target that you would want 90 minutes in all your players, all your squad before you kick the season proper.
And the other thing with the travel, I mean, it's something that's always been there. It's been there when you played and, before that. And then when you look at the Wildcats who have an expectation to make the finals every year, and some of the trips that those basketballers make, Melbourne on Friday to play Brisbane on Sunday, and some of those guys don't fit into an aeroplane seat so well. Do you talk to them and see what they do and how they manage it? Yeah, we do, and we look at I noticed last weekend they arrested Damien Martin, and there's all them factors that come in that probably a lot of the other clubs don't have to on the East Coast. But, you don't want to make excuses. It's equally hard for clubs to come out and play us over here in our conditions as well. Yeah. But you're always looking for the ideal scenario. Look, contact injuries, some things that we've had where, guys have, ruptured ankles or broken collarbones in Kinazi, that's part and parcel. That's part and parcel of the game, soft tissue injuries, you want to prevent as much as possible. And I think that comes with the amount of quality games you can get in, and obviously funds have to be there for that. So if you can get over and you can go to Asia or South Africa, or if the funds stretch far enough and you could play a number of European clubs on tour, then you're going to be in a better position for it. But look, I know firsthand, obviously, being retired for 5 years and coming back from Europe to Australia, I really didn't underestimate how difficult it is to recover on planes and how difficult logistically it is playing for a WA team and having to do that travel every other week, or like we've had at the start of this season, a number of them consecutively. So I think, FFA will have a very close look at that, because I think I've, rang up enough of their guys. They're probably sick of me by now. But look, we'll look at all that. But we're positive. There's 8 games, 8 big games for us, and you can see the league. You string a few, Victory got done last night by Brisbane. Everyone was saying Brisbane were dead and buried, and now Victory and now Muskie's under pressure. It's the league is designed to do that. League is designed that on any given day, if you don't turn up and you don't show up, you're going to get found out. Absolutely.
I was going to say, is everyone shedding a tear for poor old Muskie down at the club at the moment? He's such a love man.
Now, as a player, you never pulled out of a tackle, so I imagine in the FFA boardroom you'd be the same.
Yeah, I'm always getting my knuckles wrapped, that's for sure. I'm always in a bit of strife with them, even off the field.
So, when we're talking about the travel, every team gets given a travel allowance. Do Glory get a bigger slice of that pie, given that you are travelling so often, or is it just an even split between the clubs?
No, it's an even split. I mean, they try to assist in pre-season, but or they try and assist through the season where we may have a double header or a short turnaround of games. We did that with Melbourne, Victory and Brisbane this season. But we'd like to see more of them. You know, if we're going over to Wellington, why can't we come back through and play an East-based team on the way back through and stay on Eastern time and play a number of games? Would be a lot easier in our preparation. So, there should be more done, I think, and that's only my own personal opinion, that there should be more done from a subsidy point of view and from a fun point of view to, you know, even if it's, you know, creating pre-season tournaments where, you know, we get across to them and we can play a number of teams on the East Coast and get three or four in there, and then come back and play, you know, UWA state teams and have someone come across here would be fantastic.
Oh, it would be, yeah, definitely. And I imagine that you've already started some work towards next season already. That's you know, the way it
we're
works.
well on the way. Obviously, I can't, you know, reveal how many guys have been locked in and where the build is. But yeah, we start that build, you know, quite some time ago. And I think I mentioned last month that, you know, it's a difficult one with the season that we had where you've got so many injured, where you're actually, you know, looking at players a little bit more closely and you're needing to see more before you make some decisions.
Yeah.
And that's not for everyone. You know, some you are already been locked in on lengthier deals prior to this season. But yeah, it's you know, you're looking at a lot of things through that January period that's just passed. You know, you're looking at boosting where we brought Neil Kilkenny and Dina Gilbich back. You've got one eye on that, but you've got one eye on the future of the club and where we're going for next season and beyond.
And now that you've raised that, you know, Dino left last year, was replaced by Jacob Pascalerio. Then Jacob's left and replaced by Dino. Is that a fault in your recruiting, or it's just one of those things that just didn't work out?
Well, I think it's often difficult. You know, I've been a player before where you vouch for players and they're in a different circumstance when they might have, you know, picked up some injuries and not played as many minutes and you know, and then they don't get that next deal, or their personal circumstances change and they're not in the same frame of mind. So, you know, it is often, you know, it's often a tough one. You know, sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong, but I think the most important thing is that, you know, you don't sit on your hands and you're actually, you know, you're proactive and pragmatic in your approach and what you're doing.
And you've seen enough of it where people, you know, travel from country to country and it doesn't work, or they go from one side of this country to the other and for whatever reason it doesn't work. And in some cases, a Sydney boy comes to Perth, falls in love with it and stays.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, you know, often, you know, to the fans that are out there, they don't know the ins and outs of that, you know, and how difficult it is to attract players to WA, you know, and the expense and I suppose the premium you have to pay for players to get them across, where, you know, a young guy, for example, a young up-and-comer that's, you know, playing out of Sydney or Melbourne, they may be still living at home, and then, you know, you're paying over the odds to get them here because the cost of rent is quite difficult and the cost of living, and they're fully aware of that, the players these days. They know exactly where every dollar's going to get them. And you've got to be, you know, very, very shrewd in your business and what you do. But, you know, I like to think with our spend and what we do as a club and competing with, you know, I think there was an article last year where City had spent, you know, something like 9.3 million to our, you know, 3.2. That, you know, we're blowing them off the park, and we're probably overachieving with our spend compared to some of them. Although it's a capped league, you know, there's a lot of room in there where guys, you know, marquee players, and as it was shown last year in a Tim Cahill full season guest player, the budget can be treble. So that's where everyone kind of really has to be realistic about where things are. But as I said, we won't take a backward step of where we want to be, and our expectation is to go and mix it with the big guys. And I dare say that, you know, we get our groove on, we can still ripple in the finals. Yeah. And I'd also say if we get, you know, a full quota of guys, we probably wouldn't be sitting where we're sitting at the current time. But you know, you can't really make excuses for that.
How's the morale within the team at the moment, Jacob? Are they getting through these call it tough times as a solid unit? Are they you know, there for each other?
Yeah, the boys have been brilliant. I think you know, they all want to succeed just like everyone else at the club. You know, they want to go out and they want everyone fit and well, and you know, they want it, most importantly, you want competition for places, which is what I mentioned before. For a manager to have headaches where he's got 2 and 3 in every position, and you're having to actually have a hard discussion with someone and tell them you're leaving them out, or you're going to need them for the next game, or maybe 3 down the track. That we haven't been able to have that this season. But that's where you want to build to, and that's what creates success. Competition for places, and we've got plenty of competitors in the team, and we're getting a lot of them back. So I think we've in the next coming games, I think we're really going to go for it.
And off the park, doing very well. I mean, the membership seems to be growing every year. So although the results on the park haven't been where the fans would like them, it must be doing something right to get people putting their money, their hands in their pockets for their hard earned and coming and watching games. Yeah, look, I think knowing the Perth public and playing for them in games, I think Perth people, they just want to see some fight in your players. There's a way to win games, but there's also a way to lose games. And I think the majority of the games thus far, the guys have really put in the shift, and they may have been unlucky, but the performance has been there. And I think the public can see that. The one thing that I think any fan across the world is in our game, if they go out and it's a very poor performance, and then the result is on top of that, then they're not happy and they don't come back out. But if they can see fight in the shirt, people playing for the badge, they're going to come back next week, because let's face it, that's why we watch the beautiful game, that on any day, Chelsea can be beaten in July by a Perth Glory. Maybe not over 10 games, but that's where the fans come from. Now, one last point. As the head of football, do you have any influence over the team that will be going out against Chelsea? And is there a chance that we'll see a cameo performance from yourself in the last couple of minutes?
I could only hope so. I'd last a good 2 minutes, I think. I was actually having a joke with Shorty that can we not do a little Masters game after that game finishes, either before or later? Yeah, nice one. No worries. Look, thank you, Jacob, for your time. Very much appreciated. Look, I bleed purple, so, I'd love to see us in the finals, but I think this season's one we'll probably forget, and hopefully next year will be so much better. Yeah, stay with us, mate. I think thanks for your time, and hopefully there's a bit of an insight there for everyone. And let's see what happens. Anything can happen in football. Let's see what happens over the next day and on the build. But a lot of very positive things happening at the club. Excellent. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers, Jacob. Thanks, mate. See you. So, Jacob Burns, it's great things at the Glory. The Chelsea initiative is great for the state, not just for the club, and for football fans in general, and a good insight into the sorts of things that a head of football gets up to. Yeah, look, he's definitely got a lot on his plate. And there are, as much as we want to see the team up in the top two would be lovely. Yeah. It's the dream, but there's still so much positive stuff going on within the club, and for me, there's nothing bigger and better than Sam Kerr as our West Australian girl, being a role model for football. Loving young women in Australia. She's just a gem, and for me, that's almost like a premiership in itself. It is, having her. And rubbing shoulders with Neymar and Messi and all these people around the world, and getting respect as, hey, you can play this game. I bought a ticket from the power wheelchair people at the last Glory game. Yep. And I actually won a prize. Oh, brilliant. And they gave me a choice. I've won a power chair football. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but that's what I've won. And they said to me, you've got a choice. There's one by the men's team and one by the women's team. So I said, I have the more valuable one. I said, all right, so it's the women's team. Because of Sammy. Look, it's Sammy. But, I think... particularly at the start of the season, the women's team started off so well, and the players they had, Rachel Hill and Rocky Rodriguez, they're just fantastic ambassadors for the game in general. Yep. And then towards the end of the season, things just didn't work out for them. Unfortunately. But they had, what a season it was. Full, roller coaster excitement, lots of goals. Yeah. So you never had a dull moment going to watch a Perth Glory women's side play. So that's a positive. And look, I think the development of the young players within the club, definitely, a big tick there. And, and then, look, there are enough games for us to technically sneak in. Yeah. But you just don't know when you're there. But personally, I think we'll be making up numbers. I just like to see some of those young blokes, like young Walter Scott, getting a bit more of a run. I thought he deserved to get another stint himself. Yeah. And that's,
for the powers that be that keep giving them that little bit of learning. Yeah.
All right, and that's us for this week, Don.
That was
fantastic.
Get down to the night series. Where, you know, if you're not down at Dalmatnick Park, there's games down at the Clipsal Stadium. No, it's not Clipsal. Get it right.
No.
Plasterboard Stadium.
Plasterboard Stadium, yes.
Inglewood. And also up at Wanneroo for the Division 1.
Yes, so there's plenty of games on. Season starting. Some real upsets in the night series already in both areas. So it'd be nice to see one of those unfashionable clubs make the final. So good luck to everybody.
Hopefully West Ham pull off a modern day miracle and beat Watford, but I don't like our chances.
Watford beat Chelsea last time out, didn't they? Yeah.
But we'll do something silly like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look,